Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This happened a few years ago, but I remembered it today when reading the history of the police in the supermarket. A few years ago, I worked as a security guard to pay for my studies and was in a small neighborhood supermarket. I don't know how it is in the United States or in the rest of the world, but in Europe, if you want to buy yogurt, you have to take the package of 4. You cannot buy an individual one, except the big ones. For some reason that I can't imagine, a Karen in her 50s arrives at the cash register only with 2 yogurts, and the cashier, after much arguing with her, explains that no, she can't take 2, that she has to carry all 4. Between screams, complaints, and threats, after paralyzing the cash register, the woman says she will leave the yogurts, and I, fearing a Karen reaction, watched her from a distance. Well, when she thought she was alone in the yogurt aisle, she put the 2 she had in her hand in her bag with a clear intention of stealing them. Moment in which I appear. Madam, please leave the yogurts or buy the whole package. What yogurts? Those in your bag. Please return them or I will have you arrested. You can't arrest me for some yogurt, jerk. Madam, some yogurts are only a minor offense, but when you break the package, you have turned it into a major offense punishable by 4 years in jail. Please, I don't want to arrest you for some yogurt. At this point, she began to insult me and shout inconsistencies that she had been shopping there for years and that she deserved those 2 yogurts, and she kept insulting me left and right. With all the calm that I was able to gather, I pick up my station and call for a police patrol. Our supermarket has a strict policy of reporting all the thefts even if they are minor. And when the patrol arrived and explained to them what was happening, they were so surprised like myself because of the absurdity of the situation. That woman was going to face a criminal process for 2 yogurts of 50 cents each. She began to say that I had beaten her, that I had physically and verbally assaulted her, and even that those yogurts were not hers and that I had put them in her bag. Well, luckily we have cameras, and in my workplace my word is worth more since it's considered that I have authority as a policeman only for these cases. We have multiple witnesses. Before the police officers took her, between screams and cries, I could still explain that lying to the authorities was an aggravating factor for a possible conviction. So, to start, I love my dogs. I have 2 dogs that I frequently take out for walks. Even during the pandemic, both are rescues and have gone through way more nonsense than I have. I decided to take Josephine, the oldest, out for a walk since Millie, the youngest, is fast asleep. We took the route we usually take when we go out for walks. I then noticed that there is a new donut shop that has opened. The donuts looked nice and delicious, so I decided to grab some. The only thing is that dogs aren't allowed to go inside, but the owners were nice enough to leave a spot outside for dogs. It had a bowl full of water as well, so I put Josephine outside, and I was inside for like 5 minutes or something, since there were already like 3 people there. I was just browsing through Reddit when I heard my dog scream. Then I saw this lady smacking my dog with her umbrella at full force numerous times. I quickly rush outside and say, "What are you doing, lady?" I then took away Josephine, but she still tried to smack her. She even hit me in the leg a couple of times. I kid you not, these are the exact words that came out of this lady's mouth. "Your dog scratched my car." Her car was across the street, by the way, far away from Josephine. She went on this rant and said that I let my dog wander outside without a leash and that she had to chain my dog after she scratched her car. I don't know if you've been following the story, but I chained my dog way before this witch started hitting her. I was legitimately confused. Immediately, I called the cops. The cops arrived while she was still ranting that I had to pay for her car with my insurance. I'm 15 and I don't know anything about insurance. So the cops intervened and tried to calm the situation. The lady then decided to play the victim and said that my dog viciously attacked her. My dog did attack her since she was getting hit with an umbrella by a person she doesn't know. The cops pulled her to the side and let her tell her side of the story. I think I heard stuff like my dog scratching her car and attacking her, and that she brutally chained my dog. The cops did the same to me. They pulled me to one side and I got to tell my side of the story. Guess who the cops believed? While I was tending my dog and checking for any wounds, I saw the cops handcuff the lady and forcefully shove her in the car because she was resisting arrest. She then threatened to sue me for harassment while screaming profanities. 3 days later, no one sued me. Yet, my dog and I are fine, but she was whimpering all throughout the situation. She was traumatized. She's still recovering, but doing well. A little update. I was going to sue the witch for animal abuse, but later found out she was already in jail for insurance fraud and assault. I don't know about the insurance fraud part, but she apparently tried to push her coworker out of a window. If I'm correct, which isn't assault but attempted murder. Anyway, I didn't continue with the charges because she's serving 5 years in jail now. I would try to sue her and try to extend her sentence, but I don't want to go through a whole process just to make someone's life a lot more miserable. Years ago, my mother and I had just moved to a new dog-friendly apartment complex. We had 2 dogs. Because of them, we were excited for the community dog park right next to our building. Also, to note, our building was filled with dog owners. Each was dogs ranging from small to huge. Our apartment was on the first floor in the back of the building, all the way in a corner. It was a nice private area for us, was how the apartments were situated. Since one of our dogs is a terrier, he can be a bit barky when we're not home. Though when we are home, we have a clicker to get his attention. He has been trained to stop barking and come to whoever has a clicker. Due to our work hours, I was usually home in the morning and Mom was home in the afternoon, leaving him alone for a few hours during the day. After a month of moving to our new apartment, we received a note on our door. It was from one of our neighbors. It stated, "Dear neighbor, I understand that you are new to this complex, but it's rude to allow your dog to bark. It is ruining my sleep before I go to work, and my job is extremely important. I don't care how you do it, but shut your dog up." My mom turned in the note right away to the leasing office because she wasn't sure what to do with it. That is when the office told us not to worry because he had done this to every dog owner in the building. They did ask us to see if we could find ways to calm him down when we were not home. So, we did. We found out the kids in our neighborhood liked playing with the power station outside our apartment, and that is who he had been barking at. So we closed out that area for him when we went out and no one was home. We start playing calming music as a way to help as well. Another week goes by and this time we hear a knock at the door. We go outside and we meet our angry neighbor. He explained that our dog has kept him up every day and woke him up with his hours of barking. Most of us had been home that day and our dog had been a good boy and had not had excessive barking. I still remember what he told us when I explained that. "I know what I heard. If you can't control your dog, then I'm going to call animal control and have them both taken from you. I did it before and have no problem getting rid of your dogs either. Then I'll get you kicked out for not following your lease, and I can do that because I'm very rich and the apartment needs my money. So do something to shut your dogs up or else." After that and my mom's apology for what had happened, we went back in. A few moments later, I walked out to get the mail and discovered from another neighbor that he had gone to 3 other apartments and made similar threats. After some convincing, my mom told the office what had happened. We were told not to worry, and if he did that again, please contact him. And we also found out that the apartment had offered him an apartment away from the dogs. After some convincing, my mom told the office what had happened, and we were told not to worry, and if he did that again, please contact him. We also found out that the office had offered him an apartment away from the dogs, but he had declined since the dogs were the problem and not him. However, after what he had done, my mom began to show signs of anxiety and bought a lemon spray bark collar for our dog. While I didn't like this idea, it had put her at ease to go outside our apartment. We did make sure to only put it on him when we were both not home. A month went by peacefully, and then once again, we got a knock on our door. This time it was animal control. They had gotten an anonymous report of a dog being abused and neglected in our home. They explained that someone had said that our dogs were barking because of neglect. My mom invited the animal control lady inside and explained the situation. We showed her everything we could to prevent our dogs from being taken away. And this nice lady noticed how playful and happy our dogs were and figured it was another false call. She explained that they had gotten a few of those from an anonymous concerned neighbor for other apartments in this building. The animal control lady left, telling us that if they threatened us again, we should try and get it on record. This event had turned my mom into a paranoid person who became afraid to leave the house, thinking that if she did, then she would lose her pups. Normally, I am the calmest person in my family, never really letting anyone get to me, but this neighbor did this to hurt us. So I did my research and discovered a few things that could legally help us. With no information on certain laws and leasing terms, I formed a plan. During a weekend that my mom was visiting my aunt in a different state, I began my plan. I started by printing out a few things and then sitting outside with my phone and a speaker. I began to play a video of a dog barking really loud. I had figured out which apartment was his, thanks to a few neighbors who were also tired of being harassed. I sat there, looking across a courtyard to where his apartment was. I waited with a huge smile on my face, and as I hoped, he stormed out and headed over to where I was. I turned off my video and turned on my recorder without him noticing. His face is red with anger as he looks at me, sitting there with a smile. "I'm sorry, can I help you?" I ask him. "Screw you! I told you what I would do to your family if you didn't stop your mutt from ruining my sleep. Now I'm going to get them taken from you and get you kicked out for not doing as I said. I gave you a freaking chance. I hope when they take your dogs, they are killed and you and your mom live inside a cardboard box." I give him a fake, oh dear look and say, "So you're saying that I'm not allowed to make loud noises, including my dogs barking between the hours of 7 AM and 11 PM, and that I went against the law by doing so? You know you did. And you're telling me this from my Porsche at 2 PM in the afternoon? This won't be your Porsche once I tell the leasing office." Oh noes. That is a very serious threat for my dogs and my family, isn't it? Heck yes it is. I give him a huge smile and turn off my recorder on my phone. The neighbor is confused now and I ask him to have a seat. I have a few things to show him. I pull out my papers and hand him the first one. It was the county's noise ordinance laws. In our county, a dog's bark is considered the same amount of sound as a loud appliance, so they can bark between the hours of 7 AM to 11 PM. Before he could talk, I pulled out another piece of paper. This one states that it isn't against the leasing terms to threaten another neighbor, and after one warning, the apartment complex had the right to revolt against their lease. He looks at me with an understanding of what he has done now. I silence him and pull out one last paper. This was another leasing term I had found. His face, after reading this one, had made him turn white. This last one talked about how it was a complete violation of leasing terms to go on to another renter's property and threaten them or their property. This includes the renter's outdoor area. Those found guilty of this violation will have their lease revoked immediately and be forced to leave the apartment within a set time. The scared look on his face was priceless as I silently got up and walked back into my apartment. After he finally left, I called my leasing office, explained what had just happened, and agreed to email the recording to them right away. A week later, my mom came home with some news that she had learned from the leasing office that the man had been evicted from his apartment and would be leaving later that week. I found out that my actions had caused the other dog owners in the building to come forward and admit what he had been doing to all of them. After that, there was never another complaint, and I threw away the lemon spray collar. My mom still gets anxiety attacks once in a while, but she has been getting help to ease those worries. As for me, I don't regret what I did. I just feel bad that it had to come to this. It was a beautiful day at the park. The sun was shining and the birds were chirping. It was a perfect day for a baseball game. And my son Jack was ready to give it his all. Little did we know, however, that this day would not go as planned. The game was intense, with both teams playing their hardest. Jack's team was neck and neck with Karen's team. But in the end, Jack's team won fair and square. That's when Karen, the opposing team's coach, lost it. Karen stormed onto the field, screaming and yelling. She was a woman possessed, waving a bat in the air and making threats. It was terrifying and I knew I had to act fast to protect my son. "Karen, what are you doing?" I asked, trying to reason with her. This is not the way to behave. But Karen was not interested in reason. "Your son cheated. I demand a rematch." "He didn't cheat," I replied, trying to keep my cool. "We won fair and square. Let's all just calm down and talk about this." But Karen was not interested in talking either. She continued to scream and wave her bat, causing a scene that drew the attention of everyone at the park. I knew I had to do something to protect my son, so I called the police. They arrived quickly, but when Karen was still out of control, they tried to reason with her, but she wouldn't listen as well. Eventually, the police had no choice but to tase Karen to bring her under control. It was a shocking sight, and it took some time for everyone to recover. After the dust had settled, the police took Karen away and we were left to pick up the pieces. Jack's car had been damaged in the attack, and it was going to cost a pretty penny to fix. But more than that, we were all shaken by the incident, and it was a reminder that not everyone plays by the same rules, and that some people can be downright dangerous when they lose their temper. In the weeks that followed, we talked a lot about the incident, and Jack was understandably upset, but we made sure to reassure him that he had done nothing wrong. We talked about the importance of sportsmanship and fair play, and how winning is not everything. As for Karen, she was banned from the park for life and was forced to pay for the damages to Jack's car. It was a small price to pay for her violent outburst, but I can only hope that she learned her lesson. In the end, the incident with Karen taught us all a valuable lesson about the importance of sportsmanship and fair play. It was a scary and unpleasant experience, but we emerged stronger and more resilient because of it. P.S. Karen took a couple swings at the car we bought for our son when he got his license.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.